Church planting is the most effective evangelistic tool where we engage with the non-Christian world and we share Christ.
When you get involved in church planting, there is a battle for people's souls, and we're getting involved in it right there on the front lines. It's a kind of ministry where the fruit of your ministry will last into eternity. And that's a pretty cool thing to be involved in with your life, to be giving your life to.
Church planting is a group of people, a team coming together to establish a church that will bring about gospel transformation in the culture, in the city and neighborhood in which they are situated. The end goal is not to establish more churches, but to see the reconciliation of the world to Christ.
Simple is something we aim for. In other words, we want to be doing things in a way that the believers themselves will be able to do it. We want to have ways of doing evangelism that the people we win to the Lord can then pass it on to other people.
It really is simple. You get to know somebody, you share Christ with them, and you help them go deep in what following Christ means. And then you help them do that with others. That's pretty simple. It's demanding because people's lives don't work in a linear way.
There are great joys, amazing joys in church planting, to watch darkness flee and light come into people's lives, but there are those times that are demanding and discouraging too. It's all part of the package.
Another thing for me that's demanding about church planting is that I'm in that place, maybe the gospel hasn't been there, thousands of years of lostness. And starting at this point, the church is going to grow here. And I'm the one responsible to make sure that the truth comes in, right? And that the way this church is planted is according to the way God wants it.
There's a misconception that the church planter has an S on his chest and is Superman and can do everything. That's not true. Church planting is a team effort.
God doesn't give one person all the gifts. Sometimes what we might think of apostolic in the sense of really pioneer missionary might be quite a gifted person. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe they have a gifts of organizing and preaching and teaching, but we've really seen how that's not the way it was done in the New Testament. We've seen in our experience that we need a lot of different gifts on a team.
We like to look at the church planting team as the seed of the new church. And so the way we relate to each other, our values, everything is going to be multiplied over and over as it develops and becomes a full-grown established church.
Eventually, we are leading a team that is going to establish a church, and that's our goal. How we do it, with what gifting, there's many different ways to get there.
Another misconception about church planting is that your model of church that you're working towards will fit anywhere in the world. And I think it's taken missions many years to figure out that that's not necessarily the case.
We need to spend time getting to know what church looks like in that culture before we do church planting. Now, there are some biblical imperatives, what church is. We have to take that biblical definition and say, okay, how does this express itself in this culture?
We believe God's church can function anywhere, but we just have to figure out how can it function in this particular context and see what will grow and what will spread the gospel the best in that area.
One of the misconceptions of church planting is that we need a theologically trained and he's going to be the leader and everything else, and we don't need any other creative ways to do it. No, we need creative platforms to connect with people, but at the end of the day, church is still church.
There's a lot of room for creativity in this area. We'd love to hear about your creative idea, and then we would love to work together with you about how to connect that to making disciples and forming them into these Christ communities.